Welcome to the Wake Up with Gratitude podcast, where we share new and different ways to practice gratitude that you might not have thought of before. Our guests come from many different and diverse backgrounds, and the one thing they all have in common is a passion for gratitude. I'm your host, Julie Boyer, and I'm an intuitive business and health coach, and I'm here to inspire you to choose to wake up with gratitude every single day. Hello, friends. Welcome to this special bonus episode of the Wake Up with Gratitude podcast. I'm Julie Boyer, and today I'm sharing with you a recording from March 19th, 2020. Now that we are 2 years into this global pandemic, we know that things will never go back to the way they were. I thought it would be interesting to listen to where my mind was 2 years ago this week. What remains true is that we need our gratitude practices more than ever. I wanted to share with you a review that came in from Princess Dardar via Apple Podcasts. I listen to your podcast often while getting ready for work in the mornings. I'm trying to find the courage to make a big career change and have many competing thoughts going on. Your show helps me to start the day in a thoughtful, grounded, and grateful way. Thank you. Princess Dardar, I wish you all the best in making your career change. And just remember something that I like to tell myself when I'm going through a change. I am grateful for what I have and am doing right now. And at the same time, I'm excited and grateful for what the future may bring. Thank you so much for leaving a review of the podcast. I appreciate every time someone takes a moment of their time to share their thoughts and rating of the podcast on whatever app you are using. Okay, friends, let's travel back in time to March 19th, 2020. Please note that when I first started out on my podcast, my audio setup was pretty different, so you'll notice a considerable difference in the audio quality. I hope you'll stick around, as the messages of gratitude are just as important today as they were back then. Thanks, friends, and I'll be back next Tuesday with another grateful interview. Welcome to the Wake Up with Gratitude podcast. I'm your host, Julie Boyer, and I'm recording this episode on Thursday, March 19th, 2020. We're in the middle of a very interesting and unknown time. We find ourselves in the midst of a global pandemic, fighting against the novel coronavirus, or COVID-19 as it's being known. I want to share with you that there has never been a more important time to find gratitude in our lives. You know, this virus has appeared here in North America, kind of feels like overnight for many of us, but for others who, like me, have been following the news since January about this new virus, we could see it coming, and it felt like a tsunami. You could see it offshore. It looked really far away, but you knew it was coming. You just didn't know when it was going to hit. And now it's hit. It's here. So what do we do? How do we find gratitude? Where do we find gratitude in the middle of a pandemic? Because we're scared. I'm scared. My family is scared. And I know that we cannot spend all of our time in fear right now. We have to find ways to fit gratitude in our lives, because that is what is going to get us through these next months to possibly a year. And we might be thinking, that things are going to get back to normal soon, but they're just not. I don't believe we will ever go back to the way the world was before. And I think in some ways that's a good thing. I think there are so many beautiful things that have come out of this movement, of course, to stay at home and to stay inside and to isolate with our families. I think that we will see, a lot of beauty come out of this extremely difficult and challenging time. So let's talk a little bit about, where do we find gratitude right now? Well, we find gratitude in other human beings. We find it everywhere we look. We find it in those courageous human beings who have closed their business doors. We find it in those courageous humans who continue to keep their businesses open. We find gratitude in all those who are filling our shelves at the grocery stores and the pharmacy. The staff at the checkout who are wearing their gloves and maybe an ill-fitting mask, and they're spraying disinfectant every time a customer touches a surface. We find gratitude in our healthcare workers who are working without breaks, who are being isolated from their families and are at the greatest risk. Many of them might not even have the proper gear to keep them safe. And they're working on so little sleep that it makes it harder to make life-saving decisions that they are forced to make that they never thought that they would be in the position to make. We find gratitude in those who are working so many invisible jobs right now. They're driving our buses so that people can get to that work that we need. There's shipping, there's packing, there's manufacturing, there's sanitation, there's all the delivery services, the trucks, the trains, the cargo ships. There's our essential services like our heat, our hydro, natural gas, water, internet. Most of these things require some human intervention at some point and need a human being to actually show up to work to make sure that we are getting all these things. I mean, there's never been more of a time to be grateful for internet. My goodness, what would we do without internet right now? It is one of those things that is helping us to stay connected when we are being, physically distant from each other. The internet has been a saving grace. We think about the last time there was a real global pandemic that really affected the entire globe besides the H1N1, which did. But I'm thinking about, the Spanish flu epidemic of 1918. The world is very, very different than it is today. There's so much gratitude in the fact that we can stay connected even though we are physically distant from each other. How we find gratitude in the airline crews and the personnel at the airport and the person filling the plane with fuel and, sanitizing the plane every time that it lands. And they continue to fly across the globe in order to help citizens to get home safely. And they don't get the gift of a 14-day self-isolation every time they return home. They have to turn around and go back to work. They are truly frontline workers who have been putting their lives at risk for months, and many of them not even aware of the risks that they were undertaking. We find gratitude in our emergency services teams, including the police and paramedics, the firefighters, and the armed forces, who will continue to show up when we dial 911. All those people behind those phones, they will continue to be there for us. We can find gratitude in the ways that we continue to support each other. There's so much community support online. There are buddy systems, created to help those that are in self-isolation and cannot take care of simple needs like getting groceries or getting things from pharmacies. Yes, there are delivery services, but these services are completely overwhelmed. Perhaps delivery people are themselves in self-isolation, or the volume, of course, of deliveries has gone up tremendously because people are no longer leaving their homes. There's a beautiful system that was started here on Vancouver Island, where I live, by the Nanaimo Beacon, which is actually a satire site. They post satire, but the people behind the Nanaimo Beacon actually decided to, for real, create something called Beacon Buddies, and it's a way for people to connect with those that are in self-isolation. And sometimes it's even just talking to someone. They just needed someone to talk to. But it's helping serve those with porch drop-offs for things that people might need that they cannot leave their homes to get. So that is an incredible, beautiful way where gratitude is living right now. Supporting our local businesses. So I mentioned earlier, those having courage to keep their doors open, those having to close their doors because they don't have another option. So seeing people purchasing gift certificates, doing pre-orders, ordering online, helping support those businesses. There are many restaurants, of course, that have completely changed to a takeout or curbside model pickup so that they can not only stay in business, but they're feeding their communities as well. Many people are also turning around and feeding those who have no way to feed themselves right now because they're out of work and they have not received any kind of government support yet, and they're just not able to eat. So seeing gratitude and kindness from people feeding each other. being in, on Zoom and Skype and FaceTime and Google Duo and whatever, Facebook calling with family and friends more than ever. I find that our lives have really been turned upside down over here. And, I thought that I would be okay. I thought things wouldn't be that different for us because I already work from home and homeschool my daughter. We actually are isolated a lot of the day. Generally, we would spend most of the day just with the two of us, and go out in the afternoon, play at a park, go outside by the beach. And just even having my husband working from home has really changed things because he and I share an office. So, having to ask him to leave the office because he can still work and do his job so that I can do my work. Our lives are upside down. And I know that it's not even in comparison to what many people are going through, but we're spending a good portion of our day connecting with family through the internet because we want to make sure that everyone's doing okay. And for our mental health, it's so important that we are connecting. So gratitude is found in all these amazing ways that with, the click of a button on our phone or the tap of our phone, we can connect live with people. And so many beautiful positive quotes and images and videos being shared on our newsfeed. Oh, I find so much gratitude in there. I love the fact that I'm seeing more and more people that are actually posting on their Facebook to say that, asking people, what are you grateful for today? It's amazing. I feel like my dreams are coming true that everyone, will wake up with gratitude every single day. And I do think we're seeing more and more people really having gratitude for so many of the things that we've taken for granted for so long. Where is gratitude hiding? We can find it in nature. The sun continues to rise. And at the end of each day, it continues to set. The sun is, not aware of what is happening with human beings. And the sun just does what it does best. It rises in the morning and it sets at night. If you're following me on social media, you know that I share photos of the sunrise as often as possible. I'm really making a huge effort right now to be getting up every day, getting videos of the sunrise, sharing them with you, because I know how important it is for us to see that the sun did rise today, to know that, that is still happening and there's still so much beauty in the world. Where is gratitude hiding? We can see it in the birds, in the trees that are blossoming, in the way that nature is taking over some cities that have been empty because people have been stuck at home. We can see it in nature, in our forests that bathe us in regenerative energy. We can see it by the ocean, by the water. And so much gratitude in the fact that when done properly, we can socially distance or physically distance ourselves from others when we are out in nature. And of course, where do we find gratitude in ourselves? Our gratitude practices matter. Our mindset matters. And how we share our love, our joy, and our gratitude matters. This gift we have of time to rest and relax and recharge and reconnect can be seen as a gift. Now, there will be many who will be ill during this time, and there will be some that will not survive this. That we know for sure. And we will grieve those losses. And we will grieve the loss of a life that we had once imagined, because that it's gone. It's not going to happen. There are so many lost dreams right now in so many places in our lives, in so many ways. I mean, we look at right now, although it's not been announced, I am fairly certain that there will not be an Olympic Games this year. I hope I am corrected, but I do feel that with what's happening, we will not see an Olympic Games this year. You think about all those athletes. This was their window. This was their year, and they will never get to live out that dream. Some might survive. Maybe they'll do it next year. Who knows? But, not only that, I mean, there's small business dreams that are going to die. There's big business dreams that are going to die. And so, we find ourselves in a position where we can look for the gratitude in our current situation, or we can look for everything that we've lost. And wherever you choose to go, whatever your feelings are right now, I want you to know that they're real and they're okay. You are allowed to feel upset and frustrated and angry right now. Of course, all of your feelings are valid, and I encourage you to allow yourself to feel them. And if you feel like you want to cry every day, then cry every day. Allow yourself that time to just be who you are. And this is the thing, is when we emerge from all of this, things will be different. And it's up to us to choose whether we are a beacon for gratitude during these most difficult times or not. I share very publicly that I do have a really solid gratitude practice, and I'm also afraid. And I think that's important for me to share, that you can be grateful and then you can also have fear. And the two don't exist at the same time, right? When I'm doing my gratitude practices, I'm in it, I'm feeling it. It doesn't mean that an hour later, I don't catch up on the news, which I've never done before. I just started doing this habit again because there's a lot going on, and a lot of it directly affects me and my family. So I want to know what's happening. So let's talk about a few things that we can also do with a gratitude practice right now that can help us during a pandemic. But of course, practicing gratitude is something we want to do every single day. It's not just something that we want to do during a pandemic. So I want to just talk about some of the ways that we can really up-level our gratitude right now. So first, reminder just to say thank you. I've seen beautiful images on Facebook of people sharing their gratitude for all those services that I mentioned beyond our, frontline healthcare workers. You see a UPS or a FedEx driver drop off your package, open the window and shout out a thank you so much, right? Being kind to the people at the grocery store, just using the words thank you as much as possible. Sharing your gratitude. So making a post about gratitude, sharing what you're grateful for today, encouraging people to share their gratitude on social media, obviously is very, very important right now. And choosing to wake up with gratitude every single day. Of course, that is my most important tip. And I have a mantra that I've been saying for years that I think is something we can all repeat and we can all hold on to right now. And that is, thank you for this gift of another day and the opportunity to be of service to others and to make a difference in this world. I love you. I'm grateful for you. And I'm holding you in my heart right now and sending you so much love because we all need it right now. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for listening to this podcast. I want to thank you for sharing this podcast. I want to thank you for your commitment to sharing gratitude in as many ways as possible as we navigate what will be the most difficult thing we have ever survived in our generation. So thank you. And I'll be back. I'll keep sharing. I have so much to share with you, and I want us to stay connected. Please check the links from the audio. I always record my podcast with the video because I find it easier to talk into a screen and see myself talking rather than just record the audio. But please check out the links that are with the podcast. Find me on social. Say hello. I already know, many of you have reached out through private messaging saying I found you through your podcast, and I've already begun creating new friendships with people that have found me through the podcast. So please do so. I'm happy to be of service. You just want a friend to talk to you. You just want to say hi. You want me to send you a personal message via chat. I'm more than happy to. And so hope you're navigating this as best as you possibly can, and I will see you on the next episode.
Thanks for sticking around till the end of the podcast. I appreciate you. If you're not already following us on your favorite app, make sure you click on the check or follow podcast so you'll be alerted every time there's a new podcast episode. If you enjoyed the episode and want to help us grow, here's some easy things that you can do. You can leave a review on your favorite app. You can share this podcast with a friend and send it directly. And you can also share through social media. Feel free to tag me on any posts in your stories and I'll repost. Thank you to Paul Tedeschini for doing the post-production audio for the podcast. And one last thing, I hope you're choosing to wake up with gratitude every single day.